Hello, everybody, and welcome to the ASDRP Researcher Interview Series. Tonight, I'll be talking with Shreya Gulati. Thank you so much for being here. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. To start us off, would you tell me a little bit about yourself? So, what high school you go to, how long you've been at ASDRP, and some of your hobbies?
Um, I go to American High School. My name's Shreya. I found out about ASDRP actually through a school email, and I just clicked on the link and I was looking through the projects that were going on at the time, and I felt really interested in one of the projects. So that's kind of why I decided to apply. More about me, my hobbies mainly include dancing and reading. It's what I spend most of my time doing, and the rest of the time is at school and at the lab.
Awesome. That's great. Um, so about how long have you been researching here?
This is my fifth semester, so I joined last summer in 2021.
Awesome. And have you been with the same lab group the entire time?
Yeah, I have. I've been with the Ranganathan group the whole time.
Awesome. And what has been your research project?
My research project is called The Emerging Potential of Thymoquinone and Piperin Nanostructured Lipid Carriers, and it's for cancer treatment. So we combine thymoquinone, which is a flavonoid, and piperin, which is an alkaloid, in nanolipid carriers to increase their anti-cancer effects.
Wow, that's awesome. That's super important research. Um, will you tell me a little bit about like what a day in the lab is like?
Well, normally what happens is we go on a normal day, it's just performing an assay on some cells. So we take the time to prepare the cells. So we have to culture them and split them for a week or two, and then we go in for a couple hours to do an assay. And then we would repeat that assay several times. So it's like a process of maybe 3 of those assays, which takes a couple weeks to do.
Okay, cool. So you go through the whole process of
Yeah.
growing the cells and taking care of them and everything. What exactly is an assay? Will you tell me a little bit more about that?
An assay, it's basically like a procedure or an experiment. So it's just a fancy term for that, where we use some kind of procedure to get a desired result.
Okay, cool. Do you use any equipment in the lab to do the assays?
Um, Most of the time we're actually working in the cell culture room, but we have used some of the equipment like the HPLC or the spectrophotometer.
Very cool. What has it been like seeing this project evolve over the past 5 semesters?
Well, at the beginning, I think I was more getting into research, so I didn't really understand what was going on. I just kind of followed along with the rest of my group mates, and I would kind of just listen to their instructions and do things at the lab. But now that I kind of have more experience, we actually work on writing our own procedures, and we understand the project a lot better now, so we can do more productive research.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Once you're over the learning curve,
Yeah.
you're kind of in it and you're doing it yourself. Um, what was one of the greatest challenges that you've encountered so far?
I think our biggest challenge was actually with the cells, because for a while our cells were contaminated, and every time we tried to culture them, they would die in our plates, and we couldn't figure out why until we realized that the procedure we were using to culture our cells, it wasn't working out for the strain that we were using. So it took us a while to figure that out and then change our procedures.
Okay, very cool. That's great progress. Um, you mentioned that now you can write your own procedures. So what is a procedure and what does the writing process for that look like?
So normally what we do is in our group meetings, Ms. Ranganathan will give us an idea of what the result is and what kinds of assays would get that result. And normally there are different versions of that assay available online, so we would do some research on previous kinds of assays like that. But since we obviously have different materials or different equipment, We just have to modify the assay for it to work at our lab.
Okay, great. And so what you do is then determine what the modifications are going to be.
Yeah.
Great. That's super awesome. Um, what is it like mixing school and ASDRP and all of your other hobbies? How do you balance it all?
I think the main thing is being in a group setting where you know that you can go to the lab, obviously, when you don't have school or homework or all those extracurriculars, but it's also about trusting your group to make sure that the project gets done on time. Because, for example, with the cells, you can't go over a certain amount of days before they have to be split again. So when you can't balance it, it's really been our group effort for us.
Awesome. Um, will you talk a little bit more about your group and what that has been like?
So I've been working with the same group, even though people have left and other people have joined. Two of the members in my group have been here since last summer, and I think we've gotten a lot closer. And because of this, we've been able to work a lot better together, and we trust each other when we go to the lab. And I think it's been a really good experience because we've had to talk weekly about the project and meet up to do the work and write our manuscript. So I think that was really helpful.
That's great. I love hearing about all of the relationships that researchers form. It's so cool that not only are you getting like knowledge and research experience, but also like friendships and relationships out of that.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. What has it been like acclimating new members into your research group as people have come and gone?
Well, I think there are, for some semesters, we had some people who only came for one semester, so I didn't really get to connect with them as well. But one of my group members, she joined later, and she's been a really integral part of our group, and I really enjoyed working with her. So just admitting new members was more of they had to understand the research we were doing, and as soon as they were able to do that, and we helped them with that a lot, it worked really smoothly.
What made you pick your group to begin with? What got you interested in joining the Ranganathan group specifically?
Specifically, I was looking through all the advisors' personal websites, and I think Miss Ranganathan stuck out to me just because this project was working on cancer treatment, and that's always just been a major area of interest for me. And when I looked at all of her different projects, I kind of searched them up. I made a huge spreadsheet of what all the projects were and what kind of things they would include. And I just really enjoyed this project, and I felt like it was something I was truly passionate about.
Wow, that's really amazing. That is some serious dedication. I'm glad you made it into the group.
Yeah, me too.
For my final question tonight, what is some advice that you would give to a future researcher looking to join ASDRP?
I think it would be don't be discouraged by maybe the amount of work or how much goes wrong at the lab because it's not like a school lab where everything is set out for you. It's more of a trial and error process. So if things go wrong, you just need to realize what to work on and that you have to put in effort for it to work better or for it to actually work. So don't be discouraged by that.
Definitely. That's great advice. Thank you so much for being here tonight and sharing about your experiences and more about yourself. Good luck in all of your future research. And yeah, it was great getting to talk to you.
Thank you for having me.